Hey YouTube family! For those that are new to me, I am Dr. Nicolya and I'm a personal development coach teaching busy women to conquer their chaos and accomplish their goals. Something really neat happened to me today as I was taking my daughters to see the new Lion King movie. I just want to drop it in if you haven't seen it already to definitely check it out. But anyways, I was taking them to see the new Lion King movie. Now we've watched it a million times from home, but maybe she didn't remember certain parts or what was happening. And she's a super emotional kid. So I told her, I said, you may get really emotional in this movie. You may cry at one part. And she's like, I'm not going to cry. I don't remember anything being sad. And I was like, okay, because obviously I didn't want to give it away. So as we're there, and the part where Scar kills Mufasa, she starts crying. She looks over and she does this thing where she taps with her fingers. And I look at her and I'm like, what in the world are you doing? And she's like, I'm trying to fast forward to the good part. I know there has to be a better part. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I was just thinking like if I was on my phone, I could fast forward to the good part. And it made me think about us in life. How many times have we been in situations where they're jacked up, or things aren't working our way, or things look really bleak or dim or dark or just depressing, honestly, and we feel like we want to fast forward to the end part. We want the peak, right? We want the happy parts. We want the highlight reels, but we don't want those things that get us to that point. How many times have you been on social media and you see a girl in a nice bikini and you're like, dang, her body is nice. I wish that I had her body. But you don't know that she was waking up at 5 a.m. Or you see the people that are happily married because they're 80 years old and they just have been married for 50 years and they're celebrating their anniversary, but you don't know what they've been through for the last 50 years to get to that point, right? We just see these highlight reels in today's day and age and social media or even in person and feel like that's what we should be pushing towards. But we don't realize that all of those things that happen in the process to get there is what's really building character, is what's really building strength. That's what's really building the resilience you need to be that person that you desire to be. I know for me personally, when I think about business, I think about the beginning stages, right? A lot of people that look at me now are like, I'd love to become a best-selling author. I'd love to write multiple books. I'd love to be able to coach people. But they don't realize the thousands of dollars that I put in when I was working a full-time job, a part-time job, and starting a business and working around the clock because I was also a single mom trying to balance all of that. They don't know what it was like when I was working, doing the mindset work to overcome all of those things that people told me about me being a terrible writer. And I had to work through that process because it's part of my story. It's part of my testimony. But if we're just double clicking like we would on our phone to fast forward to those things, and we're just seeing that end piece, we don't realize all the work, right? Simba is a really simple story. It's a great story. But Simba had to overcome mindset stuff that Scar told him that he killed his dad, that he was blamed. He had to re-identify who he was because he was a lion, but living in a totally different way. And so he had to work through that process to get to the strong Simba that he needed to be able to defend himself against his uncle. And so in the same way, we can't just fast forward to the easy parts. And I had this conversation with my daughter that those tough parts, those parts where we're really in the valley and we're really struggling and things aren't going our way, those are the parts that really build who we are as an individual. Those are the parts that strengthen us and give us the things that we need to be successful. Those are the parts that give us the character that we need. Those are the parts that give us our story and our testimony and who we desire to be. And if we're always so quick to fast forward to those parts, then we're never going to really know the strength that we can have through the things that we went through. And so don't be so quick to fast forward or overlook those or even become resentful or bitter towards those difficult stages in your life because you never know what can come from those. So before I go, I just want to share a quote that I read, and it goes and it ties in with what I'm talking about today, but it's by Pico Iyer, and it says, in the age of speed, I begin to think that nothing could be more invigorating than going slow. In the age of distraction, nothing can feel more luxurious than paying attention. And in the age of constant movement, nothing is more urgent than sitting still. And the reason I like that is because we often want to do what everyone else is doing. We want to get where everyone else is when they're at their peak. We love that peak. We love the part that we can see. But just like the iceberg image, where 80 or 90% of the iceberg is underwater, but all we see is this little tiny piece above the water, We have no idea what was under there, the hard work, the sacrifice, the prayers, the tears, the late nights, the financial investments. We have no idea what was down here, the losses. We have no idea what was down here. And so we can't hope for this piece if we're not willing to take all of this down here with it. And so I challenge you this week to really start reflecting on those difficult parts in your life and ask yourself, like, what came out of that? What positive came out of that? How did I become stronger? How did I build my character? How can I support other people with that? I know for many of my clients that write books, a lot of their books are built from their trials and their struggles that they can now share and support other people that are also experiencing the same thing. And without those trials and those struggles and those various things that they're dealing with, they would never be able to give that support to those people, and they would never be able to write those books. And so sometimes we have to reflect and reframe our thought process around it to really understand who we are now is because of those hurdles that we had to jump. So I challenge you to really reflect on that. And as always, continue with clarity. Bye, guys.